So here are some scientific errors and mistakes in the Quran. This is a concrete proof that Muhammad wasn't a prophet from God. If Muhammad was a prophet, he will know better. I will start with you with one of these silly mistakes Muhammad did. So we have geocentrism. The Quran mentioned a few times that the sun and the moon travel in an orbit or sphere, which says in Arabic fi falak, but does not mention once that the earth does too. This is consistent with an earth-centered, geocentric view of the cosmos that places to a motionless earth at the center of the universe and all heavenly bodies travel around the earth. This was the prevailing understanding of the universe prior to the 16th century, when Copernicus helped explain and popularize a sun-centered views of the universe. Muhammad just adopted this mentality. He listened for some Greek people, which were common knowledge at that time, even in Arabia, and he just copy and say these things out of ignorance. If he was a prophet from Allah, he would have known better. So here I can show you the verse in the Quran 36, 37, 40. A token into them is night, we strip it of the day, and they are in darkness, and the sun runneth into the resting place for him, which is mean the sun, but Quran used him and her as in Arabic, but this is bad translation for Quran as always. What it says here that the sun want to rest after its rays and set. The sun doesn't go anywhere, it's the earth revolve around itself. So here we can see that is measuring of mighty, the wise, and for the moon we have appointed nations till she return like an old shriveled palm leaf. Is that true? Is this what happened when the sun rise and sunset? Or is this like just a primitive way of seeing things for someone who live in the desert in Arabia, a caravan robber such as Muhammad? It is not for the sun to overtake the moon, nor the night outstrip the day. They float each in an orbit. Is it true that the moon and the sun can't just see each other's? Like, what does that even mean? The sun is much huger than the moon and the sun, they are not replacing each other's. Like, I don't know what I can say about it. I can understand how many Muslims can see the problems in these verses. And it carries on here that the Quran, in this verse 36, 37, 40, occurring in a passage that night and day, right after describing the change from day to night, states that the sun runs on a resting place, which in Arabic say لَمُسْتَقَرًّا لَهَا. There are also in the hadith, which every good Muslim believes in, Sahih Hadith, and in Sahih Hadith number 297, that mention that the sun daily cycle using the same Arabic word to mean a resting place, which is underneath Allah's throne. Does the sun really goes under Allah's thrones? Is there something like says that sun goes somewhere? The sun doesn't go anywhere. It's the earth revolves around itself. How in the world Muslims can believe Muhammad in today's world after all this scientific advancement that the sun goes under the throne of Allah? The sun goes nowhere, but Muhammad's primitive mindset as Arabian who lives in the desert, he thought the sun goes somewhere because he thought when it's sunny in my region, it's sunny everywhere in the world. He wasn't aware that night and there's night somewhere else in the world and there's morning somewhere else. In his primitive mindset, he thought if it is morning in where I live, it's morning everywhere. If it is night where I live, it's night everywhere. So you can see this guy, Muhammad, the most fake, obvious prophet in history. So to carry on with this here, you can see that also when he said that the sun goes under Allah's throne in Sahih Muslim 1-297, and is where each night the sun prostrates. The sun prostrates, really? How does the sun prostrates? Does the sun has knees? Its knees on there, like it like just go to Allah and it prostrates? Does like the sun worship Allah? I mean, what does it even mean? And then the sun, he carry on to show you that he was complete ignorant. He carry on and said, and is asked to go and rise from its rising place, which in Arabic it says the word min matla'aha, which means the rising place. This cycle repeats until one day Allah asked the sun to rise from your sitting place. In Arabic, min maghribuk. In Arabic, it's clear. It says that that the sun actually got to Allah and asked Allah, should I go again for a morning? Till Allah tell the sun to rise from the Maghrib, which means in English, from the west. The sun goes to Allah and asks him to rise again. So you can see that Muhammad actually thought that the earth is a flat. So to actually prove to you that Muhammad actually thought the earth is a flat and the sun goes around this flat earth, he also mentioned in the Quran, in the cave 1886, which is Ayat al-Kahf in Arabic, is chapter Surah the cave. He also said that the sun is sitting in a muddy spring. And this is like completely nonsense when he said that Dhul Qarnayn, he went to the place where the sun sits and he found it sitting in a muddy spring. So here you can see that this is completely primitive way of seeing things around you as someone who live in the desert. If Muhammad was a prophet, he won't have said these things. And to prove to you that this is like an example of how Muhammad thought the earth is flat, because Quran says here, sun sits in muddy spring, which Quran says it's a clear verse explained. Quran author could have worded much more clearly, like a word than wajaduha in Arabic. Wajaduha in Arabic means to find. So basically he find it, like he found the sun, like which is used twice in the same verse in Arabic, wajaduha. Context shows he reached place of sunset, that he Dhul Qarnayn, the two-horned, Dhul Qarnayn in Arabic means the two-horned, that he went to place where the sun is sitting. As not just time largest spring in the world, far too small to reach horizon. Like how is possible the sun is sitting in muddy spring? The sun. Muhammad confirms the verse in authentic hadith also. History of Tabari confirms muddy spring story. All early tafsir is the explanation of Quran. For 440 years, post-Muhammad took the verse as meaning the sun sit into the spring. The story of sun sitting in spring comes from ancient poem. It's not just Muhammad's invention. Muhammad was hearing some from Christianity, some from Judaism, some from Zoroastrians, some from poems, and he mixed up and make this horrible Quran, this crappy Quran. So here also other evidence that Muhammad thought the sun goes through muddy spring. Again, sun goes for nowhere. Or pick a problem in Islam, where it says in the Quran 21:30, do not the unbelievers see that the heavens and the earth were joined together as one unit of creation, before we clove them asunder? We made from water every living thing. Will they not then believe? So modern Muslim scholars generally maintain that the following verse is compatible with the even predictive of the Big Bang Theory. According to Big Bang Theory, the universe was formed 13.8 billion years ago due to a rapid expansion from singularity. The Earth was then formed 4.54 billion years ago. Like, regardless if you believe the Big Bang or not, if Muslims want to link this verse to Big Bang, I'll show you why it doesn't work, even if you want to believe in Big Bang. From a creation of debris that surrounding the sun, there was no stage of separation or joined earth and heavens. The ancient concept can be traced back to ancient creation myths, such as in Middle East, and which heavens was separated from earth in Quran 20:30 as this verse. And similar verses assume that listeners are familiar with the basic outlines of the myth, which was extremely widespread at the time of Muhammad and his companions. So the word translate joined together, which is ratqa, means closed up or sewn up. Also used metaphorically in terms of reconciling people, but does not imply a homogeneous mass or state, let alone a singularity. The words one unite of creation, and the translators on the translator giving a word in different translation as always, because when they translate Quran to Arabic, they change the meaning completely. By the way, the English Quran, the Arabic Quran are very different, and that's because they want to fool Westerners with more peaceful language, with more convincing language to persuade them into Islam. The separation of the heavens and earth can be read in the context of verses that mention something between their fully formed state, which seems to be occupied by the clouds, Quran 2:164, and birds, Quran 2:441, and that the heavens is a roof raised high in Quran 52:5. The heaven is a roof? Does the writer of the Quran understand that heaven is not a thing, it's just oxygen and just gas, and there's nothing such as a roof, and heaven is not a thing in fact? It's just sky, which is just gas? Oh my gosh. Quran says that heaven made from smoke. As you can see in this verse, Quran 41:11-12. Then turned he to heaven when it was smoke, and said unto it and unto the earth, Come both of you, willingly or loth. They said, We come, obedient. Then he ordained them 7 heavens in 2 days, and inspired in each heaven its mandate. And we ducked the nether heaven with lamps and rendered it inviolable. This is the measuring of the Almighty, the knower. Quran 41:11-12. As always, this is another mistake. There is no stage in the formation of the universe that involves smoke, carbon particles suspended as a result of combination of, like the word translates smoke is a noun. It's in Arabic, the word they use in Arabic is dukhan, which means literal smoke of the sort that rises from a fire. Similarly, the earth and heavens did not each come as separate entities at any point in time. Rather, the earth is a part of the universe and has developed within it. And this is another problem, and of course, Muslim scholars, as always, they try to relate it to gas and stuff, but smoke means smoke, coming from dukhan, because the word in Arabic dukhan means smoke, which comes from fire. Another problem in Islam claims there are 7 earths. In the Quran 65:12, it says, Allah it is who had created 7 heavens, and of the earth like the like thereof. The commandment cometh down among them slowly, that you may know that Allah is able to do all things, and that Allah surrounded all things is knowledgeable. The Quran states here that there exist 7 earths. Really? Where are these 7 earths? Academic scholarship has noted that this concept of 7 earths along with 7 heavens was presented in the Near East in the first millennia BCE and CE. You can see also cosmology of the Quran and read about it more, but there's nothing such as 7 earths. Like, where are the 7 earths, one above the other? Some Muslims are trying to say is the seven like earth-like surfaces, because the new science said that there are the earth we are on, and believe there's other like liar and liar. It doesn't say liars, it says 7 earths, like an earth, flat one, as Muhammad thought, and other flat, as Muhammad thought again, and 7 all the way above each others, as the caravan robber Muhammad, the most obvious fake prophet in history, thought. Anywho, also Muhammad carried on with the crap he believed. For instance, Muhammad was saying meteors as stars fired at devils. Really? So he thought that these are these are meteors, are stars fired as devils. You can see in Quran 37:6 and 10. Indeed, we have adorned the nearest heaven with an adornment of stars. Adornment of stars. Again, this is, the stars are not just there as adornment. Stars is much huger than the whole earth, and like maybe bigger than the sun we have in this solar system. And as a protection against every rebellious devil, so they may not listen to the exalted assembly of angels, and are polluted from every side, repelled, and for them is a constant punishment. Expect one who snatches some words by theft, but they are pursued by a burning flame, piercing in brightness. You might not understand what this trash is about. I'll tell you what is it about. He's trying to say here that there are devils, or I think not devils, he said what jinn, are trying to listen to what happens in the heaven with angels. And then Allah, through these stars, on them to make them go back to earth as jinns. I mean, is this really why they are meteors in the space? Really? Muhammad also wasn't aware. He just living in the desert. He look at the sky at night. He see these stars like in the sky moving and stuff, and he thought these are just movement to hit the devils and the jinn. What is that even like? Anyway, so here we also have also to prove this to you in Quran 67:5 also was mentioned that the beautiful of the world's heaven with lamps, and we have made them missiles of the devils. Missiles of the devils, and for them we have prepared the doom of a flame. So, are these stars missiles of the devils, or what is it? Like, does someone today world think this a scientific fact? Can Muslims, any Muslim country, even the most extreme Muslim country in the universe, can they dare to teach this things I just mentioned as science in any scientific book? Even Muslims won't dare to put this in any scientific book because deep inside they know this is scientific mistakes. Even a second grader knows these are not true. So the word here in this verse translated missiles, which in Arabic mean rujuman. Rujuman mean like missiles basically, which are things that are throwing, especially stones. And the hadith confirms this, that they say these flames missiles in two verses were understood to mean we know that these are visible meteors. Sahih Muslim 26 5538, you can see that these are like complete nonsense because it's actually mentioned in the hadith that these are missiles to hit the devils, or what do you call them, the jinn in Islam. I mean, I know it's different. Jinn and devils are not the same. Jinns are creatures like humans in different realm. Okay, either way, the stars aren't missiles to hit these creatures. Also, like here you can see that a big problem in Islam. In Quran 75:8-9, and the moon darkened, and the sun and the moon are joined. Really? The sun and the moon are joined? Do you understand what's gonna happen if the moon dare to come close to the sun just from far distance? The moon will literally melted before it's ever come close to the sun. This implies similar size and distance of the sun and the moon. The size is not even close. Okay, in a passage about events on this day of resurrection, they say that the Quran implies that the sun and the moon are of comparable size and distance. And as already noted, the Quran says that the moon follows the sun. This is in Quran 91:1-2 verse. And the sun to overtake the moon, nor the night outstrip the day. Quran 36:40, which is not true that the sun overtake the moon, because as you can see, sometimes the moon is there where the sun is in the morning, the same place, but you can't see the moon because the sunlight is strong, not because the night and morning are take over each other's, which kind of primitive mentality Muhammad had. Anywho, you can see here the sun and the moon will be brought together. The sun and the moon will be brought together, which such a perspective is like primitive and just belong to the 7th century Arabia, viewing the sun and the moon with their just huge different size, and just based on what they see by their unaided eye and observing eclipses. Modern science has revealed that the 64.3 million moons could fit in the sun. The Arabic word also translated, because always Muslims love to play this game that no, the Quran is not preserved, not changed. No, it's changed. And when you translate Quran in English, it's completely different message than the Arabic one. The Arabic word translated as are joined is jama'um, a verb which means to collect together, gather together, bring together. That's what it's mean. The only meaning is this. Don't lie to us Muslims. Critics note that this word involves our moon, which orbits the Earth 93 million miles away from the Sun, brought together with our local star, which is over 400 times wider. to say that such mismatched objects will be brought together, jama'ahum, in Arabic jama'ahum, together, in such a scenario would hardly be opt, critics argue, and a very odd event to happen. Rather, the description sits comfortably in the ancient understanding of the cosmos, whereby the sun and moon were assured to be two roughly equivalent bodies in the sky above the earth. It is worth noting that the darkening of the moon in verse 8 is an Arabic word which is in the Hadith refers to a lunar or solar eclipse in the case of lunar. However, for a lunar eclipse to occur when the Earth's shadow is cast upon the moon, the sun and moon are on opposite sides of the Earth, and thus are not any sense brought together, nor does brought together in verse 9 work as a reference to a solar eclipse. When the sun occasionally casts a shadow of the moon on the Earth, the moon is invisible during the portion of a month when it can eclipse the sun, since it must be on the side of the Earth, the day-lit side of the Earth. And then come the other big problem in Islam. Moon split in two. There is zero evidence that the moon split in two. It says in Quran 54:1-3, the hour has come near and the moon has split in two. And if they see a miracle, they turn away and say, passing magic. And they denied and followed their inclinations, but for every matter is a time of settlement. What we can see here, this nonsense, the Quran, according to a common interpretation, and the Hadith tradition state that the moon miraculously split into two pieces and then and together again and then gathered together again. There is, however, no scientific evidence suggesting that the moon was ever been split into two parts. Critics have pointed that the moon is visible to half the planet at any given time, there should exist numerous accounts from different parts of the world attesting to the event if it is in fact happened. The Romans, Greeks, Egyptians, Persians, Chinese, and Indians, none of these had evaded astronomers who critics maintain should have seen this event and recorded it in their histories, in their books, in their libraries. The complete absence of any such historical record from other civilization contemporary to Muhammad is thus present as a strong indication that the event described in Scripture never happened. And Muhammad said also in Sahih Bukhari 6:16-387, he says, narrating Ibn Mus'ab, during the lifetime of Allah Messenger, the moon was split into two parts. One part remained over the mountain and the other part went beyond the mountain. On that, Allah Messenger said, witness this miracle. As a Middle East witness, I never witnessed this miracle, and I don't think anyone in Middle East in that time witnessed it, because it's never happened. So here we have also this issue, because Muhammad say any trash he believed in, and the Arabians have to believe in him and what he's saying, because either they are ignorant enough to believe him, or they are too afraid to oppose him, because Muhammad was a violent person who would kill his opponent. Another big problem in Islam, nature of the moon's light. Modern Muslim scholars have sometimes argued that the Quran predicts the realization that the moon does not emit its own light, but simply reflects light coming from the sun. The Arabic word for reflected, in'ikas, does not appear in two Quranic verses that say the moon is a light. Instead, the word nur, in Arabic, nur means light in Arabic, is used, which simply means a light, and in another verse, the word muniran, which means lighted, is used, which means giving light, and is from the same root as nur. Nonetheless, the usage of these words is vague and appears to permit alternative interpretations. So what you can see here in Quran 10:5, it is who appointed the sun, a splendor at the moon a light. And splendor and the moon a light? Really? But the moon has no light of its own, it's just a reflection of the sunlight. And measured for her stages, that you might know the number of the years. And he reckoned Allah created not all, that saved it in truth. Like you can see that here, that Muhammad thought the moon gives light from its own, and this is again, if he was prophet from any god, he won't have said this trash. Not only this, in Quran 17:16, and had made the moon a light therein, and made the sun a lamp. Oh my gosh, made the moon a light therein. You know what he's saying here? Nur appears again, this time as a particle muniran, which is mean in Arabic. Muniran, as an Arabic speaker, it says like it's giving light of its own. So here also we can see that Quran 25:61, blessed be who had placed in the heaven mansions of the stars, and had placed therein a great lamp, and the moon giving light. Muniran, giving light. I speak Arabic, so don't fool me and tell me this doesn't mean giving light. Yes, it means giving light. Muhammad, the most obvious fake prophet in history, thought that the moon is giving light. Also, to carry on with the mistakes of the Quran, basic scientific mistakes. So Quran 79 verse 27-30, he's saying here that the entire heaven has a night and day. Muhammad thought the earth is flat, and when it's night, now it's night everywhere. When it's morning here, it's morning everywhere. So here say, are ye the harder to create, or is the heaven that he built? He raised the highest thereof, and ordered it, and he made dark the night thereof. And he brought forth the morn thereof, and after that he spread the earth. So here the Quranic conception of the cosmics, according like to Muhammad and the authors of Quran, visual perception of the sky, even to the extent that Quran 79:28-29, night and day is mistaken as a feature of the entire heaven. The lowest heaven is elsewhere said to be adorned with the stars, as discussed above, and it will become clear that this is heaven being referred to. In these verses, the night and morning, brightness, and said to be an attribute of the heaven. Which is say in Arabic, the word sama. Sama in Arabic means sky, heaven, which Allah built. Banaha. Banaha in Arabic means built. And raised. Rafa. Rafa in Arabic means raised. As a ceiling. Oh my gosh. So this is exactly clear proof that the Muhammad thought that sky is a thing which you raised up there. And when it is morning here, it's morning everywhere. And this is only because Muhammad thought the earth is a flat, not a globe. Prove to you that Muhammad was thinking the sky and heaven are like a ceiling or something that can fall on your head. In Quran 52 verse 44, and if they were to see a fragment of the heaven falling, they would say a heap of clouds. A heaven falling. Does the sky fall? Like the sky is not a thing to fall. The sky is just a huge gas around the earth. The Quran described the sky heaven as a roof held up by Allah. What? That can fall, or fragments of which may break off and fall upon unfortunate individuals. This is challenging in light of the modernization that the sky is simply a various gases around the earth. So Muhammad thought that this sky is a thing, concrete thing which can fall on over your head when Allah is angry because you are not eating a dish with your right hand or some other silly things. Anyway, also you have Quran 34:9 verse 9, another proof that Muhammad thought the sky is something can fall over your head. The verse says, see, do not what is before them and behind them of the sky and the earth. If we wished, we could cause the earth to swallow them up, or cause a piece of the sky to fall upon them. Verily, in this is a sign for every devote that turns to Allah in repentance. The sky to fall upon them. A sky to fall upon them? What does that even mean? How the sky, various gases around the earth can fall above your head? when Allah is not feeling well today. Nonsense. Quran 22, verse 65. It says here, seeing how Allah had made all that in the earth. And saying here also that upon the sea and his command, and how like the heaven from falling on the earth. So this is holding the heaven from falling on the earth unless by his leave. O Allah, for mankind, full of pity, merciful. Oh Allah, you're so merciful for not allowing this heaven and sky fall over our head. You are so merciful because these gases are not falling over our heads. Again, nonsense. Islam is not just the sky falls, also the stars are falling. I mean, if they want to. In Quran 81 verse 2, and when the star falls. Also in Quran 82 verse 2, when the stars are scattered. So basically the Quran says that the stars will fall. In the Arabic word scattered mean like inkadarat, which is mean like falling on the earth, which is as of many dramatic events surrounding the last days. The word qadar in Arabic, which is in the form used in this verse from like the mean of the dart down, as is said of a bird, like it's a fall and scatter. So how the stars can fall on the earth? This is something like hard to believe for any sane person who finished a science book for a second grader. Anyway. Also, the thing here in Quran 36 verse 40, it says, it is not the sun to overtake the moon, nor the night overstrip the day. They float each in an orbit. Muhammad wasn't aware that the world is not just his deserted land in Arabia. In polar regions, in the northern polar and the southern one, the longevity of the day and night vary during summer and winter. The day gets shorter and shorter in winter until there are days or weeks of uninterrupted night, and the poles themselves, day and night, alternately last for 6 months, and all phases of the moon occur several times between sunrise and sunset. These circumstances render many of the most important Islamic rituals. Think about it, how you can pray in Islam for the Fajr prayer, the Maghrib prayer, if there is no sunset or sunrise in places like Northern Pole where the sun is always there for 6 months or it's always night for 6 months, and how they can fast Ramadan if there is no sunset and no sunrise, how they can do these things. And this is also another question. Muhammad wasn't aware that in the Northern Pole that you can fast because there's 6 months of sun shining, sun is just there, doesn't set, and 6 months of night. So how people should fast Ramadan there? Because of course Muhammad was not aware of these things and its existence as someone who is like completely obvious fake prophet. He wasn't aware that there are day and night alternately last for 6 months, and all phases of the moon occur several between sunrise and sunset. These circumstances render many of the most important Islamic rituals. And this is the issue that Muhammad wasn't aware of. Like how you can fast and pray, how this requirement can be achieved near the poles, like in northern Sweden, northern Norway, northern Finland, or like Greenland, how you can practice these if you are a Muslim living there. And that's a proof that Islam is not for everywhere, as it says. Another problem in Islam and in Quran 86:6-7, it says, He is created from a drop emitted, proceeding from between the backbones and the ribs. Between the backbones and the ribs. So basically Muhammad thought that the semen of a male comes from between the backbone and the ribs. But based on science, we all know, I hope, that it comes from testicles. in male testicles, not from the backbones and the ribs. This is where the semen comes from. The Quran states that semen originates from somewhere between the backbones and the ribs. Other verses and hadiths suggests that reproductive function of the backbones. While this aligns with the views of the scientists, and modern science has shown that sperms comes from the testicles and semen from various glands behind the below of the bladder, which is not between the backbone and the ribs. And by the way, based on my first-hand experience, I remember in a Muslim country such as Jordan, people there, they believed that the semens are produced from your backbones. Literally. I remember even seeing them hitting each other on their backbones as kids in high school. And they keep saying that I want to hurt your semens and your future kids. People thought, actually, in Muslim country, that this is where the semens comes from. Imagine, these stories happened only a few years ago. Muslims believed, at least the majority of them, I'm saying, based on my first-hand experience, that the semen comes from backbones and ribs, not the testicles. Why? Because Muhammad, the caravan robber, the most obvious fake prophet in history, said it. It's always the favorite topic of of Islam, women, and in Quran 86 verse 6 to 7, he was created from a fluid ejected emerging from between the backbone and the ribs. So the Quran, in all of this description of a human reproduction, does not mention the role of ovum, of women, in this procedure of having kids, implying instead that reproduction is caused simply by storage in the woman body and mingling of the male semen in the female womb. Although visible of the human eye, the female ovum is very small and known in the 7th century. This appears to explain its omission in the Quran. So basically, Muhammad wasn't aware that women has a role in this. They even thought when the sexual intercourse happened, they saw that women has a water goes out in some cases when she is coming. But they thought this water is like semen of men. But in fact, we all know today, hopefully, that this water is not like men's semen. It's just to make the sexual intercourse easier. And this is not what the Quran thought about this woman water which comes out during the sexual intercourse. Another problem in Islam and Muhammad primitive mindset. Muhammad thought in the Quran that the gender decided at the clot stage. In Quran 75 verse 37-39, it says, "Was he not a drop of fluid which gushed forth? Then he became a clot. Then Allah shaped and fashioned and made of him a pair, the male and female." So Muhammad thought that the gender decided at the day of 40 when the woman is pregnant, but in fact, the gender decided right after the intercourse between a male and a female. The Quran states that an embryo is transformed from semen into clot, shaped and then determined into either the male or female sex. Modern genetics, on the other hand, has shown that the sex of a human is decided at the moment of conception. Here also we can see that translator mostly used "and" in verse 39. The Arabic particle is not the same. As always, they changed the word to make it more acceptable to Westerners, as also in the previous conjunction, which indicates sequence. And then classical tafsir in Arabic means the explanation, share this reading, and the same reading is reflected in Sahih, Hadith Sahih, and found in both Bukhari and Muslim. So also in Sahih Bukhari 16315, it says, this one is narrated by Anas bin Malik. It says here in Sahih Bukhari 16315, narrated by Anas bin Malik, the Prophet said, "At every womb Allah appoints an angel who says, 'O Lord, A drop of semen, O Lord, a clot, O Lord, a little lump of flesh. Then, if Allah wishes to complete it, creates. The angels ask, O Lord, will not be male or female, a rich or a blessed, and how much will his proven be, and what will his stage be? So all of that is written while the child is still in the mother's womb. Is that what happened in science? Anyone who has basic science knowledge, they will know that this is not true. The gender decided if a male or female since conception. Also in Quran there is bigger problem where it says that Muhammad thought that bones formed before flesh. In Quran 23 verse 14, then we made the sperm into a clot of congealed blood. Then of that clot we made a lump. Then we made out of that lump bones. Then not and just this, he carried on saying, cloth the bones with we clot the bones with flesh. What? Then we developed out of it another creature. So blessed be Allah, so blessed, and the best to create. And definitely this is not how babies create in their mother womb. Not how fetus what's this? This is not even logically correct. The Quran states that the bones of a human embryo are formed first and then covered up with flesh. By contrast, modern science has shown that muscles and the models of muscles of the future and the future bones start to form at the same time and in parallel. Muscles have stated to form before and the models start to be replaced with actual bones. This is how it's happened. The Quran again parallels the influential Greek physician Galen, who says, because Galen's Muhammad wasn't bring these things out of his brain. Sometimes he was, not sometimes, most of the time he was stealing from other books, especially the Bible, Torah, and the Greek mythology, and the Greek scientist and Greek philosopher. This one was stolen from Galen on Siemens, page 101. It says, and now the third period of gestation has come, after nature has made outlines of all the organs and the substance of the Siemens is used up. The time has come for nature to articulate the organs precisely and to bring all the parts to completion. Thus, it caused the flesh to grow on and around all the bones. And this is where Muhammad stole the idea of how fetus created in their mother womb. Muhammad says that all organisms created in pairs, as said in Quran 51 verse 49, and of everything we have created pairs that you may receive instruction. And this is not true. I will tell you why it's not true, but first let's go through all the verses which mention this nonsense. Quran 36 verse 36, glory to Allah who created in pairs all things that the earth produces, as well as their own humankind and other things of which they have no knowledge. And Quran 92 verse 3, by him who created the male and the female. Quran 75:39, then he made of him two kinds, the male and the female. Here you can see the Quran states that all beings are created in pairs. However, modern science, which Muhammad was oblivious of, has revealed that not every creature procreates or reproduces through a male and female sexual relationships. You can see here that based on the whiptail lizard in the US, Southwest Mexico, and South America, for instance, in all female species, while which reproduce by parthenogenesis, the whiptail lizard, which lives in the US and Southwest Mexico and South America, for instance, in all female species of this whiptail lizard, which reproduce in its own without having a male to mate with. And many species of plants also reproduce either asexually or through pollination. So those who are intersex, including those people with both male and female sexual organs in the body types, these people are like, they don't need to mate with the opposite gender to have kids. Of all species also do not appear to fit in this category. This had led to discriminatory ruling from Islamic scholars, not allowing those with ambiguous sexes to get married, for example, due to the unknowledge of this kind of phenomenon of gender-based roles. And as always, Muhammad failed to address basic science because Muhammad wasn't a prophet from any good god. Muhammad wasn't just mistaken about a human body, but also he has a problem with animals. For instance, the characteristics of milk, like in verse Quran 16, verse 66, and verily in cattle too. Will you find an instructive sign from what is within their bodies between exertions and blood? We produce for you to drink, milk pure and agreeable to those who drink it. The Quran states here that milk is produced in the body somewhere between exertions and blood, which is not true. The mammals, like the mammary glands, where milk is produced and stored, are however not located near the intestines, which is where excrement is stored. Sometimes cattle and goat milk needs producing, like or being pasteurization, because it's not has many bacteria in it, before it can safely be consumed. The milk is often infected with bacteria and often microorganisms. A significant number of humans lactose intolerant, especially in some regions of the world, especially in Arabia, and unable to digest much milk without experiencing abnormal bloating and cramps, flatnesses, and diarrhea and nausea or vomiting. This occurs in adults who lack genes for lactose enzyme persistence, which maintains lactose tolerance beyond childhood and is a relatively recent evolutionary development. These realities appear to challenge the Quranic notion that milk is pure and agreeable to anyone who drinks it. So this is like the problem, because Muhammad says that it's pure and agreeable to drink milk. But Muhammad wasn't aware, as always, he was ignorant and saying trash, that he wasn't aware that there are people who are lactose and they can't digest milk and make them sick. He wasn't aware that these people are existed, and Muhammad, as always, making claims without any evidence. And if he was a prophet from Allah, he would have known better. Here I can show you the Arabic mistakes in the Quran, because Muslims claim and proud that the Quran has no mistakes and perfect Arabic in it, which is not true. For instance, here you can see in the chapter of the cow, yes, there's a chapter in the Quran named the cow. Al-Baqarah 124, لا ينال عهد الظالمين. In Arabic mean the bad people, like they won't get my commitment or inheritance. So what here should be الظالمون, because this should be fa'il, which is object, and has to be mansub in Arabic. I understand in Arabic, I mean, if you don't speak Arabic, you won't be able to understand this. But if you are a Muslim who speaks Arabic, or non-Arabic Muslim who can understand a little bit of Arabic, you can Google it and see that this word should be ended with waw noon, not with ya noon. And this is one of the grammatical mistakes in Arabic. Another mistake, number 2 here, in Rahmatullah Qarib al-Muhsinin, Al-Araf 56. And this here, why it's problem? Because if you want to speak in the beginning, in Arabic, in this, if you want to follow it with the khabar, with the noun, it has to be feminine, which the word qarib is masculine here, but it should be feminine. And this is another mistake in Arabic, in the Quran. Number 3, وَقْطَعْنَاهُمْ 12 أسباطًا أمما, Al-Araf 160. Here also a mistake, because the problem that when you make it a feminine for the number and you want to count it, so it has to be 12 سبطا, when not like it has to be masculine. Number 10 عشرة here, it has to be masculine, not feminine, as you put ta here. This is another mistake in Arabic, which is funny because even someone who has basic knowledge of Arabic can tell these are mistakes. However, many Muslims, the majority at least, or almost anyone even Islam, they are reluctant to address these issues, even though they know these are mistakes. I hope they know. Number 4, هدانا خصمان اختصما في ربهم. Al-Hajj 19. Well, here I say, خصمان اختصما في ربهم. هذا, this is a mistake because it should be, like it has to be feminine, and here they make it like واو ألف, which should be اختصما, not اختصموا. Here another mistake. For instance, when in Arabic you say these kids went to school, you don't say واو ألف in the end. The ضمير مؤنث, which is like pronounced double pronoun, it should be ذهبا. So this one should be اختصموا, not اختصما. Okay, sorry, it should be اختصما, not اختصموا. Anyway, I hope if you speak Arabic, you understand what I'm talking about, or maybe you have knowledge in Arabic to understand what I'm saying. Number 5, Surah At-Tawbah 69. And Surah At-Tawbah is the only surah in the Quran which starts without Bismillah, Allah at Farati and these things. Anyway, وخصمتم كالذي خاضوا, sorry. وخضبتم كالذي خاضوا. Okay. Here, اسم الموصول عائد الضمير الجمع. So it's basically وخصتم كالذين خاضوا. So basically this should be like not كالذي, كالذين, because it's جمع اسم موصول, which means plural and connected noun. It's referring to a pronoun which is plural. So this can't be correct. Number 6, more examples of the mistakes in Quran. مثلهم كمثل الذي استوقد نارا فلما ضاءت ما حولها ذهب الله بنورهم. Al-Baqarah 17. The cow again. Baqarah means cow in Arabic. So the dhamir here is going back to the singular, which is استوقد. So it should be ذهب الله بنوره, not بنورهم, because Allah is like mufrad, is singular, not a plural. بنورهم is a plural, and this should be singular because it's referred to Allah. Allah is one, not 100. So this is an easy mistake. Anyway, what other mistakes I can show you here? الله الذي أنزل الكتاب بالحق والميزان وما يدرك لعل الساعة قريب. الشورى 17. كالذي يتبع خبر. This is the problem here, that it should be الساعة is feminine. قريب in Arabic, if you have feminine here, after it should be feminine, and because this is like in Arabic called, it has to follow the everything in the noun before it. So this one should be قريبة, not قريب. الساعة قريب. What's this? This mistakes even kids can't make in Arabic. الساعة قريبة, not قريب. Here's more mistake in Arabic. Perfect. It was perceived perfectly. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Also here. Here لست عليهم بمسيطر. الغاشية 22. Even kids know that in Arabic this one should be letter sin, not letter sad. So مسيطر ونيت مسيطر. Like very simple, easy mistakes in Arabic, and Muslims still giving blind hide for this. Please wake up and stop trying to cover up Islam, because if you know it's wrong, then it's wrong. It can't be from any good loving God.